Ozark National Forest is comprised of over 1.2 million acres in northern and central Arkansas, which also contains the Buffalo National Scenic Riverway. It's just a beautiful area of wilderness in the Midwest here. We're going to take the Opus camper through some of its toughest trails, do a lot of river crossings. Conditions were very wet in the previous weeks, so we're really excited to try this thing out and put it to the test. So we started our journey south from Kansas City and encountered some rain, started to encounter more rain as we got closer to Arkansas and deep down into the Ozark Mountains. And conditions were very wet overall in the previous weeks, and this was actually going to be the first break in the weather, so they had a lot of rainfall, and we encountered a lot of runoff, a lot of flooded rivers, which you're going to see here in a minute. Just a lot of very wet conditions that were starting to dry up, but we hit the trails. The convoy, we aired down and then got ready to go really into some serious terrain. And the Opus, man, this thing is it's perfect. If you're looking for luxury in the deep backcountry, it doesn't get any better than this. There were a good number of sections where the trail was completely flooded, just like this, and of course we had the 4Runners and the Tacomas, and actually the stock Tacoma did pretty well, but we had no issues dealing with it. We had a couple of Tundras in our convoy. Overall, of course, they did fantastic, but adding the element of the trailer to this, it just added another difficulty, although it did great as well. There were a few spots that we did get slightly stuck and need to winch out.
Nice.
This particular crossing was actually a low-head dam that the water is supposed to actually run underneath of this cement, and it was flowing rapidly over, not a lot there, maybe 2 inches, 3 inches. So not a huge worry, but significantly flooded areas throughout the entire forest. We finally arrive at our camp spot, which was right off of a river in this beautiful valley. And we set up the Opus, and the thing it boasts is that it sets up in just minutes, which it really does. This thing just makes camping so much fun and off-roading so much fun that you don't have to set up a tent, and you have beds and you have heat and you have a refrigerator, and it's just comfortable in the backcountry. And if you can take it anywhere, then why not? And so we continued to just set up camp, and the guys were having some fun, and this is where the 80 series got stuck and had to be winched out. But that's the whole point. It's a lot of fun. These guys know what they're doing. I've never done this. This was a lot of fun. If you're in the Midwest, even if you're not in the Midwest and you're looking for a Toyota build, a Jeep build, Adventure Motors is the best around. People come from all over the country to buy from them and to upgrade their vehicles with them. I highly recommend. Michael knows what he's doing. He's awesome, just a super great guy. So we got the 80 series unstuck. We're settling into camp, making steaks for dinner on the beautiful stove that just pulls right out. It's so easy to clean and to stow and to make sure it's secure and cook everything. It's literally actually enjoyable to be camping in the deep backcountry. You have all of the comforts that you need, and we just had an awesome night hanging out together. Like I said, making steaks on the fire, having a drink by the fire, and then actually sleeping well. There's nothing like it. next morning was a bit cloudy, a bit foggy, and we had noticed that the flood waters had not receded, so conditions were the same, but woke up, spent our time making breakfast, just taking it easy before we hit the trail, and had a beautiful morning right by the river. As we finished up breakfast, we were kind of starting to tear down camp, and we did need to take the camper with us. That was the whole goal of this trip, was to test it out on the trails, really put it to the test. So we did pack up camp and soon got on the road. We needed to get onto the main road so that we could link up with some of the other trails and a few waypoints that we had planned, a few cool little sightseeing options that we had planned. So we got out on the trail and instantly hit some obstacles. There were a few specific places that the guys knew they wanted to return to. They'd been here a few times before, and they really loved. There's one particular kind of a water drainage that comes over the edge of a bluff down onto the road called the car wash, or maybe that's their name, or I don't know if it's the actual name, but it was the car wash. But we made our way across several rivers, some of them very simple, very easy crossings, others a bit more treacherous, and I wouldn't say we had any close calls. There was nothing beyond our capabilities with these vehicles in particular, although the Opus camper did provide to be the one obstacle that would, if any vehicle was slowed down, it would be the 4Runner pulling the Opus. But overall, still everyone did fantastic. So we finally make it to the car wash, and we decide to pull over just after going through it, and we found out that we sheared off the electrical wires for the trailer, so we lost turn signal and brake, and little did we know there were a few other surprises that we'd encounter that evening when we got back to camp. For instance, we actually went through enough water that it came into the secured compartments in the camper and flooded out the Dometic refrigerator that we had in one of the compartments. I think there were a few other leakage spots that caused some damage internally, although none actually really degraded the value of the structural integrity of the camper itself. Only internal wiring and a few minor things like that. We did run into a few downed trees, but very easy obstacles to overcome. For the most part, had a great time. The trails were mostly clear, mostly passable. A few spots where the rain had actually eroded the trail significantly, but we were still able to pass. We had probably about a dozen different river crossings the whole trip, which made it very fun, of course. The Opus did fantastic. We finished our trip and started the journey north again to Kansas City, back through southern Missouri, through the Ozarks, and everyone had a great time. It's always a fun time being out with these guys. Super great crew. Thank you again, Adventure Motors and Opus Campers. Links to a lot of the gear that we used camping are below. Please use those. That helps out my channel a lot. Thank you for watching The Real Adventure. I will see you next time.